When we think of pirates, we often picture daring outlaws living a life filled with exploration, endless adventures, and mysterious treasures. However, amid the famous male pirates like Jack Sparrow, there were women who faced challenges in claiming their place on a ship, whose mere presence was considered bad luck. While piracy has mainly been a job for men, some women also gained recognition in this profession. A rule was established that prohibited women and boys from being on board pirate ships. Instead, a contract was created and signed by the crew, ensuring that no women or boys were allowed on the ship. As women were not permitted on ships, some managed to sneak on board disguised as men and using male names. Two of the most famous pirate women, Read and Anne Bonny, adopted this tactic and joined pirate crews. In fact, there were probably more lady pirates than we will ever know about, since so many were disguised. This was only one of the hardships the female pirates had to endure.
Let's unveil the secrets of time.
The Golden Age of Piracy, Women's Hidden Roles. Captain Calico Jack, one of the world's most renowned pirates, had two women in his crew, Read and Anne Bonny, where they posed as men. Pirates were known for their cruelty, and even governments found it challenging to control them at sea. This led to an era known as the Golden Age of Piracy, spanning from around 1650 to 1720. During this time, many men left their homes to seek work in distant lands by sea, leaving women to take on traditional male roles. Some women even married pirates who became wealthy through looting. Through their connections with pirates, some women transitioned into piracy themselves. However, in those times, women were considered to bring bad luck. Due to this belief, pirates were reluctant to have women on their ships under any circumstances. To overcome this, some women disguised themselves as men to join pirate crews. Notably, two renowned female pirates, Read and Anne Bonny, adopted this strategy and joined the crew of the famous pirate captain Calico Jack. They were just as fierce, if not more so, than their male counterparts. They were skilled at swearing and cursing. In 1720, Captain Barnett captured them after they bravely fought against his forces without the help of their fellow crew members, who were too hungover and scared to join. Their unconventional behavior and courage amazed and intrigued people in the Atlantic world. Anne Bonny openly revealed her gender while aboard the ship, but Read went to great lengths to conceal hers. Before turning to piracy, Mary served as a soldier in the British Army, adopting the male identity of Mark Read. She maintained this disguise until joining Jack Rackham's pirate crew. Mary's impressive skills caught Anne's attention, prompting Anne to pursue her into a supply room, attempting to seduce Mark. It was then that Mary disclosed her true identity as a woman. Anne, respecting Mary's secret, fostered a strong and enduring friendship between them. The close bond between Anne and Mary sparked speculation among the ship's crew about the nature of their relationship. Adding to the complexity was Anne's marriage to Captain Jack Rackham. Jack Rackham grew increasingly suspicious of the two women, leading him to confront Mary one night with a knife to her throat, accusing her of seducing his wife. However, Jack was completely taken aback when he discovered Mary's true gender. This revelation dispelled his suspicions, as the idea of two women being together seemed impossible. Instead, he saw an opportunity and convinced Mary to join their relationship, forming an unconventional relationship with Anne. While some chose to hide their true identity, many other female pirates chose to dress as women. This suggests that they were able to maintain a feminine appearance while on board the ships. Grace O'Malley, an Irish pirate from the 16th century, even gave birth to her youngest son on a pirate ship. These pirates could wield a sword with one hand and carry a baby on their hip. Some stories mention that certain pirates were quite attractive, but we can only speculate about how much they relied on their feminine charms. However, having a pretty face didn't guarantee success on a ship. They likely had to keep up with the men, as there wasn't much space for decorative elements on board. It's worth noting that we only know about those who were caught, so there may have been many women who lived and died as men without us ever knowing about them. The Wrath of the Bald, Pirate Queen's Rebellion. In the age of exploration, women were determined not to be left out. One notable figure among them was Grace O'Malley, also known as the Pirate Queen of Connaught. Born in 1530 in Ireland to a prosperous seafaring family on the western coast, Grace faced a unique challenge. Her father, who was the leader of their clan and a trader, initially forbade her from sailing due to her long hair. It wasn't a typical occupation for girls. Undeterred, Grace cut off her hair the next day, surprising her father, who then began teaching her the ways of a sailor. She quickly earned the nickname Grace the Bald for her short hair. However, Grace couldn't escape the traditional expectations for women. At the age of 16, she married Donald of the Battle. They had 2 sons and a daughter before Donald was killed in battle. Grace sought vengeance for his death and assumed leadership of Donald's clan. By 1564, she had settled on Clare Island, embarking on a dual career of trade by land and piracy at sea, leading a pirate army of 200 men. Grace O'Malley's men persistently engaged in pirate activities around Ireland, often targeting English ships. In 1565, during her early exploits, Grace rescued Hugh de Lacy from the sea. They became lovers, but Hugh met a tragic end a year later. Seeking strategic advantage, Grace married Richard Iron Burke and relocated to his castle at Rockfleet. Unfortunately for Richard, she swiftly divorced him after taking control of Rockfleet, though they later reconciled when she faced an English attack in 1576. She and Richard faced threats from Queen Elizabeth I's court, leading Richard to surrender in 1580. Fueled by anger, Grace forged an alliance with Scottish mercenaries to rebel against the English. This sparked a series of uprisings, including her support for the Spanish Armada, which was ultimately defeated by England in 1588. Grace found herself accused of treason. Frustrated by the injustices during the conflicts, she wrote to Queen Elizabeth seeking redress. However, her appeals went unanswered. In a bold move in 1593, Grace sailed to London for a special audience with Queen Elizabeth, despite advice against such a meeting. The details of the encounter are scarce, but Grace emerged victorious. She secured her son's release from English imprisonment and obtained the Queen's formal approval to continue her life as a pirate. However, Grace's illustrious career came to an end not long after. In 1601, at the age of 70, she suffered defeat at the Battle of Kinsale. 2 years later, in 1603, Grace O'Malley passed away at Rockfleet. From Brothel to Battleship, Nightmare of the East. In a time when the seas were ruled by tough male pirates, there emerged a remarkably strong and fierce leader whom even the most fearsome raiders respected. Known as the Dragon Lady of the South China Seas, Qing Shi had a tumultuous life story that matched the turbulent waters she governed. Born in obscurity, her journey into piracy began in the floating brothel of Guangzhou. However, her life took a dramatic turn when she married the infamous pirate Zheng Yi. But rather than just being his wife, she became his successor, leaving a lasting mark on pirate history. After Zheng's unexpected death, she not only inherited a fleet, but transformed it into the most powerful pirate force the world had ever seen. Under Qing Shi's shrewd leadership, the Black Flag Fleet had an extensive reach. No vessel, whether small fishing boats or large merchant ships, could escape her control. Beyond mere robbery, she established a sophisticated spy network in coastal towns, ensuring her fleet stayed ahead of their enemies. With over 1,500 ships and more than 880,000 pirates under her command, she wielded a lot of power. While Caribbean pirates like Blackbeard might have had a few ships and a few hundred men at most, Qing Shi led a vast armada with more sailors than most nations could assemble. This made her unafraid even of the Imperial Navy. Before becoming the Pirate Queen, Qing Shi led a more humble life. In a time when the US Navy was not yet a concept, Qing Shi, born as Shi Yang into a tanker family, lived and worked on junks along the coast of China. As a young woman, she worked in the brothel gambling houses and boats of Guangdong. Her life took a significant turn at the age of 26 when she married the notorious pirate Zheng Yi in 1801. While her new husband's pirate fleet was already impressive, it transformed into an armada under their joint command. For about a year after their marriage, life continued as usual for the pirate couple. However, everything changed in 1802 when Zheng's cousin, a fellow pirate, was killed by the Vietnamese. With the need to consolidate power over his cousin's pirate fleet, Zheng faced internal conflicts. Thanks to Qing Shi's business acumen and organizational skills, the infight among the pirates was swiftly resolved. She played a crucial role in negotiating a truce among the leaders of the pirate fleets, forming a confederation. 6 fleets, each flying a colored flag, red, black, blue, white, yellow, and purple, effectively operated as a pirate navy. Together, Qing and Zheng commanded the largest fleet, the Red Flag Fleet, and by 1806, every sea-going vessel in the region paid tribute to them for protection. All went well for the couple until Zheng's demise, either in a storm or at the hands of the Vietnamese. Regardless, he was gone, and it was time for his widow to take charge. Now known as Qing Shi, she married Zheng's adopted son, Chung Po Tsai, who was supposed to inherit his father's command. With this marriage, she assumed control of the Red Flag Fleet and immediately instituted a code of conduct to maintain discipline, combat effectiveness, and ensure success and wealth from plunder. The key rules asserted that Qing Shi was the sole authority to authorize an attack. Unsanctioned attacks were punished by beheadings. Loot was to be collected by superiors and distributed equally. First-time offenders faced severe beatings, while repeat offenders were beheaded. Deserters had their ears cut off. A second offense led to beheading. Sexual violence resulted in beheading, and consensual sex without Qing Shi's permission meant beheading for both the pirate and the female partner. Pirates had to marry female prisoners before any intimate relations. Mistreating the spouse or infidelity resulted in beheadings. Apart from extorting protection money from shipping, Qing Shi raided coastal villages and kidnapped foreign officials for ransom. Valuable insights into her operations came from one hostage, Richard Glasspool, held for 4 months. Qing and her pirate fleet triumphed in various encounters. They defeated a 35-ship flotilla commanded by Lin Guoyang off the coast of Shenzhen and repelled a government force under Sun Quan Mao with 100 ships. In 1808, after suffering a naval defeat, the Qing dynasty sought foreign naval assistance. Her audacity was unmatched. She became a formidable force feared by the Qing dynasty, the British Empire, and the Portuguese Navy. Engaging in numerous naval battles, she consistently emerged victorious, leaving her adversaries nursing their wounds and in awe of her genius. No force managed to decisively defeat Qing Shi or her assembled pirate fleet. During the September 1809 Battle of the Tiger's Mouth, the Red Flag Fleet confronted a joint Chinese-Portuguese battle fleet attempting to trap them in Tung Chong Bay. Despite facing a 3-month blockade and sustaining heavy losses, Qing Shi sailed away with her pirate force largely intact, defying the efforts to subdue her. What made Qing Shi truly unique was not only her strategic brilliance, but also her skill in ruling with an iron fist cloaked in silk. She enforced a strict code of conduct among her pirates. It is said that under her code, the discipline among the pirates surpassed that of any national navy. However, all storms eventually subside. Qing Shi, the pirate queen who had terrorized the South China Seas, negotiated her retirement with the Qing government. Qing Shi, recognizing that government harassment would persist indefinitely, leveraged her substantial influence to secure a pardon for herself and her crew at a time when her adversaries were most vulnerable. Through negotiations, she obtained a financial settlement, a noble title, and permission to retain a modest fleet of ships and sailors. A life that commenced in poverty concluded in renown and affluence. Passing away at the age of 69, she owned her gambling establishment, earning widespread respect and remembrance for her unconventional exploits in the South China Sea. The legend of Qing Shi goes beyond her piratical exploits. It is also a tale of her indomitable spirit, her ability to challenge the norms of her time, and her unmatched skills in naval warfare. In the vast world of piracy, amidst stories of Blackbeards and Black Barts, the saga of Qing Shi stands out not just as evidence of her strength, but as a guiding light illustrating what sheer determination and cunning can accomplish. From noble to pirate, Jeanne de Clisson's fiery revenge. In the year 1343, within the Grand Courts of Brittany, an unexpected origin story unfolded for one of history's fiercest pirates. Jeanne de Clisson, with her noble background and composed demeanor, appeared to be a typical lady of high stature. However, beneath the elegant silks and jewels, beat the heart of a lioness. Born as Jeanne de Belleville in 1300 to a prosperous noble family in Belleville-sur-Vie on the western coast of France, she was recognized as one of the most beautiful women of her day. At the age of 12, she married 19-year-old Geoffrey de Chateaubriand. The couple had 2 children before Geoffrey's death in 1326. 4 years later, Jeanne entered into marriage with Olivier de Clisson, a wealthy nobleman, with whom she had 5 more children. While their union might not have been initially based on love, it became evident that they developed a mutual respect and care for each other. When the War of Breton Succession erupted, Olivier made the choice to support his childhood friend, Charles de Blois. The exact details of what transpired between the 2 friends remain unclear to historians. However, Charles de Blois became convinced that de Clisson was a traitor supporting the English claim to the duchy. After capturing de Clisson, the English demanded an unusually low ransom, raising suspicions for de Blois. Consequently, Charles de Blois devised a plan with Philip VI, the King of France, to have de Clisson killed. According to the tale, the French king extended an invitation to Olivier and his supporters, seemingly to partake in a tournament celebration. Upon their arrival, they were promptly arrested and accused of being traitors to France. Olivier faced conviction and was sentenced to death. With her husband imprisoned in Paris, Jeanne endeavored to secure his release, although not through legal means. A sergeant of the guard was apprehended for contributing to the delay in Olivier's execution. Allegations surfaced that Jeanne had bribed the guard, accusing her of attempting to subvert French justice. On March 12, 1343, the guard was released on parole by Parlement. The following day, they instructed Olivier de Clisson to provide his account of the events. By the 14th, Olivier was transferred to a more secure prison. Then, in August 1343, Oliver de Clisson was publicly executed with his head placed on a pike and sent to the capital of Brittany, Nantes, as a stark warning against aiding the English. The king's actions shocked the public, given the lack of sufficient evidence to prove de Clisson's treason. Moreover, displaying a corpse in such a manner was typically reserved for low-class criminals. Many in the public believed that the king had unjustly taken the life of an innocent man. Then, upon learning of her husband's tragic fate, Jeanne de Clisson wasted no time and took decisive action. She severed all ties with the de Blois family and brought her children to Nantes to witness the gruesome display of their father's severed head. Driven by a thirst for revenge, she resolved that her children would join her in seeking justice. With most of her lands confiscated due to her husband's treason, Jeanne sold all her possessions, jewels, clothes, furniture, to raise funds for her cause, expelling the French from Brittany. Her war began on land, and it was a brutal one. Legend has it that she gained notoriety for leaving only 1 or 2 survivors to spread the word. France had to know that it was Jeanne who avenged her husband's death. With the remaining funds she had, Jeanne shifted her fight from land to sea. She purchased 3 ships and continued her resistance against the French. The change in environment did not temper her methods. She remained just as ruthless and violent at sea as she had been on land. Now known as the Lioness of Brittany, her fleet earned the moniker, the Black Fleet. Legend has it that she painted the ships black and dyed the sails red, ensuring people could spot her from afar and anticipate the impending danger. Sailing along the English Channel, she attacked every French ship in sight, gaining a fearsome reputation as a pirate across Europe. Imagine a heartbroken wife, betrayed by the crown, selling her lands and transforming into a pirate queen. This isn't the stuff of dramatic novels, it's historical reality. In the pirate world, there's a saying, "Red sky at morning, sailors take warning." But for the French, the warning wasn't in the sky, but on the sea. Jeanne, with her jet-black ships and ruthless crew, became a crimson storm of vengeance. Each time they captured a French vessel, they spared only a few sailors alive, ensuring they could tell the tale of the Red Lady's wrath. While her actions evidently supported the de Montfort's claim on Brittany, Some argued that she was not a pirate, but an unofficial privateer for the English. While piracy, for many, conjured images of treasure chests and exotic exploits, Jeanne's piratical journey was fueled by a deep thirst for revenge. However, just as abruptly as her tumultuous career began, it came to an end. Despite the death of King Philip VI of France in 1350, Jeanne de Clisson continued causing chaos for French ships for another 6 years. After an approximate 13-year career as a pirate or privateer, she chose to conclude her fight and married into the English court of Edward III. The motivations behind this decision remain a mystery. Had her thirst for revenge finally been satisfied? How did she meet her new husband if she was always engaged in sea battles? Numerous questions linger without clear answers. Her life post-piracy became surprisingly ordinary. Jeanne found love once again and lived a peaceful life ever since. One can only imagine the stories she shared at her dinner table, with her past life appearing as distant as a ship on the horizon. The sole information historians possess about her last years is that she passed away approximately 5 years after her marriage, around 1359. After about 13 years of causing chaos on the high seas, she anchored her ships for the final time, and the storm of fury seemed to calm. The Middle Ages was certainly not a period in history where women easily attained positions of power. Their behavior and societal roles were largely governed by biblical texts that explicitly outlined their subordinate status to men. During this era, women typically faced two primary choices: marriage, often at a young age, or taking religious vows and becoming a nun. Despite these constraints, some women, driven by sheer determination, managed to carve out their own space in society and make a lasting impact, remembered for centuries after their passing. Jeanne de Clisson, a mother, wife, and formidable warrior, dedicated 13 years of her life to safeguarding Brittany from French control. Her influential role in the War of Breton Succession involved decimating French troops and resources. Long after her passing, legends endure, portraying her as a fierce and ruthless warrior in battle. The legacy of the Lioness of Brittany and her infamous Black Fleet persists, making her one of the most renowned pirates in European waters, even in contemporary times.